Hundreds of handheld pagers exploded in Lebanon and parts of Syria on Tuesday, killing several people, including members of the militant group Hezbollah, and wounding thousands. Hezbollah and some government officials saying Israel is responsible for the attack, which wounded nearly 2,800 people. Israel not commenting. Now, the attack on pagers to Hezbollah looked at as a tactical success by military analysts. It's not clear if there is a strategic impact. They say that definitely embarrassed Hezbollah and appeared to incapacitate many of its members, but it has not changed the military balance along Israel and Lebanon's border.
The New York Post had a headline, "Paging all terrorists."
Oh, that's perfect.
I mean, so Israel, they take out Hamas's leader in a safe house in Tehran. And then, like yesterday, it was like, hold my beer, we're going to do one better. And they simultaneously set off pagers throughout Lebanon, taking out or injuring, dozens and dozens and dozens of Hezbollah terrorists. It sounds like they learned that Hezbollah was going to switch to pagers to communicate because the technology of a cell phone, it's easier to track and monitor and all of that compared to a pager. Israel gets wind of that. They, at some point, intercept the pagers. They
rig them all with explosives.
They rig them, and then they have it to where on a moment's notice, they can just simultaneously set them all off. It's like straight out of Hollywood what they pulled off. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't even know that something like that would be possible, you know?
Did I?
Like in a movie, of course, but yeah, it's really crazy to see all those videos of people just in the supermarket yesterday, and then all of a sudden, and there were a bunch of them, too, that went off all at the same time.
Yeah, one guy just standing there at the cash register in a grocery store, and boom, he explodes. Now, unfortunately, when Israel set them off, you didn't know where those Hezbollah terrorists were going to be. Some of them were among civilians, and that's why I think you had 2 children who were killed and many others who were injured. But, that is an operation. Like, if you're an enemy of Israel and they're surrounded by enemies, after seeing what they did in Iran and then seeing this, you got to be thinking, what's next? What else are they capable of?
Yeah.
What's the purpose, though? What do they get? What's the end goal for that?
Well, they took out a lot of Hezbollah terrorists, and they sent a real message. Do not mess with us because we can get you anytime, anywhere. I think that's the message. It's reestablishing that deterrence in that region. Now, will it work? We'll see. Hezbollah has a lot of capability to strike back at Israel. Whether or not they will, that's the big question right now. Iran hasn't since they took out that Hamas leader in Tehran. But, I'm just blown away by what they were able to pull off.
Yeah, it's really wild.
Unbelievable. What else is going on this morning, Chris?
Well, apparently Kamala Harris is nice. That's according to an unlikely source. Donald Trump.
Wow, they're BFFs.
Yeah, Vice President Harris called former President Trump on Tuesday. It was a quick conversation following the apparent second assassination attempt against him on Sunday. Now, Harris says she checked on him to see if he was okay. She was speaking at the NABJ, that's the National Association of Black Journalists, the same group that Trump had spoken to earlier. And she said that she told him that there's no place for political violence, and she said she's in the race for many reasons to fight for democracy, but she did not support anything to happen against the former president. And he told Hannity that the conversation was nice. And he also talked to President Biden as well. And he said that went okay also.
Well, it's the right thing to do, obviously. Do you think it's one of those situations? Look, the vice president and the president, of course, they're going to call Trump again. It's the right thing to do. But do you think part of her was like, who just goes to voicemail?
Right, I don't really want to talk to him.
Like one of those calls where you're like, if it just goes to voicemail, I'll leave a nice message.
Yeah, I know that feeling when you really don't want to talk to the person, but you feel obligated. Yeah, you're like, please, let me just leave a message.
Yeah, can somebody find out, is he really busy right now so I can call and he won't have his phone on him and I can just leave a message?
I wish we had like a split screen on that. You want to talk about awkward.
Well, they did all those phone calls with her and Tim Walz when she called him, and then when Obama endorsed her, they did those phone calls. So why didn't they have video of this one?
I know. know. I mean, I'd love to see that. Trump be like, who?
Yeah.
Right.
Are you for real? But yeah, so obviously, this is just sort of like campaign cordiality.
Yeah.
But
that's all.
What do they really feel? I'm not going to hear that.
Can only imagine.
So a winner was announced on Tuesday in Florida's annual Python Challenge. This is a competition that takes hunters out into the wild, and they remove the invasive Burmese pythons from South Florida. Now, the grand prize winner was Ronald Kiger. He removed 20 pythons.
Wow.
He received a $10,000 prize. In total, 857 people from 33 states and Canada came together to support the Everglades conservation through this competition. They were able to get rid of 195 of the invasive snakes, according to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission.
Such a badass thing to do.
It really is, but I feel like 10 grand to capture. What did he get? 20 pythons or something? I feel like that's just not an adequate prize. It should be more like 100,000.
Right.
Yeah.
I would agree. Put me in the Everglades.
10 grand? That goes real quick these days.
Yeah, but then again, we're talking about him.
Yeah.
So he's pretty cool. But here's the thing, though. The problem with these snakes is that the females can lay 50 to 100 eggs at a time. And they don't have any real natural predators because they're not from this part of the world. They don't belong here, and they're just ravaging our wildlife. They're eating all the mammals. They can even kill other reptiles like alligators.
Yeah, we've seen some of those battles between alligators and pythons. Is that like is that a turn on, Dana? Python hunter?
No.
No, oh, really?
It really isn't. I don't.
I wondered if for some women that's like, wow, he's a python hunter.
Like the people on dating profiles with a fish picture. Yeah, no.
Can you imagine? Maybe one of them's got a dating profile with a python they're holding up.
That might be a little more impressive, but no, the whole reptile thing is not a turn on. No.
Yeah, well, the one that had the longest length, 9 feet, 11 inches. There are some that are much bigger than that.
Oh, yeah, they're huge.
And so, the good news is that they're doing this and they're catching some. The bad news is they can't keep up. It's because there are just too many pythons laying too many eggs, and, there's just not enough wildlife that can take them out. Hopefully they don't reach, further north and start terrorizing.
North in Florida. We've heard some of those stories.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if they showed up at, Disney World or something. That would be pretty crazy.
Tell you what, Mickey Mouse, you better watch his back. They would absolutely go after him.
They'd probably sell snakes, with little toys of Mickey Mouse. They'd make money out of it somehow.
Chris Trankman with today's top stories. Chris, thanks so much.
Thank you.